Hello, Collab Design for Literacy Beauties. This is Marcos, and this is our week 10 going to week 11 recap briefing video. And I'm going to try to make this one a quick one because we are busy, busy, busy as we have our storybooks in full gear now, and we have them due soon. And I want to go over what's coming up next and give you some updates on how we can adjust the schedule a little bit to give you guys a little more time. So let's dive into it. First, we had a great class on Thursday, and I want to thank everyone for coming out to my office in Dumbo. Almost everyone made it. We had one casualty, um, but we had a great session, and I'm so grateful for you guys coming over and coming over looking your best. And the results are in, and you guys, I told you in the beginning, you guys are more than you think you are, and that you guys can do so much. And look at this. Look at this image of you guys. This is just one image of each of you, but you guys took such great pictures. You came so well prepared. And Stan, the photographer, did a great job. Him and his lovely assistants, of course. But you guys really shined, and we've got some fantastic results that I'm excited to share with you. And just want to tell you how proud I am of you guys, how great you're doing, and how we're not done yet. Don't get all relaxed, but I will just take a moment to sit back and see who you are and to understand the power you guys have to make a difference with design. And so bask in that for a second and then get back to work. But just a good class. And of course, it was also the review sessions. And thanks to Demi for coming out and Mateo, who had a little bit of problem, but he got there eventually. But we had just good reviews. But we had, as I predicted, as I warned, I gave you the public service announcement. Don't get broken by spring break. And spring break broke a few of you. I hope you had a good time, and I know many of you were broken because you were busy working and stuff. But it's okay. It's okay. It was factored in, and now it's time to buckle down and surge to the finish line to get your books done. And well, first, before we get there, let's talk about the pictures. So the photo shoot pictures, which turned out fantastic. I put up a folder on the Google Drive you see up there, photo shoot pics. And with those photos, I organized them so that each of you have a folder. And in that folder, I've made two versions of each of the pictures. The same pictures, just one is in color and one set's in black and white. And the reason for that is that the black and white set is specifically made for the portraits that you're going to be doing in your baby board book. So basically, you'll take an image like this and you'll crop into it, and that'll be your portrait that you use on page 3, I believe it is. So just so you know, as a side note, for the black and whites and for the colors, I went through and did kind of a batching and tried to adjust the images because there were some were dark, some were too light. And they're not perfect, they're better than they were, but you can also go in there individually and adjust. Make them brighter, make them darker, make them more contrasty, make them less contrasty, depending on the one you select and how it looks. But they're not bad. They're pretty good. So these are the black and white ones. And then there's also a color folder. And in the color folder is the same exact pictures, just in color. Same deal here. They were kind of batched, and they might need some adjustments, but they're decent. They look a little dark, but they're okay. And these were done specifically so that for the last final review assignment, part of it will be for you to showcase your finished book within the context of this photo. So this is the photo taken for the storybook with the blank book, and then you took the ones with the baby board books, and both of those will be easily photoshopped into the covers into there to look super real. And yeah, so that's that. So to take these, enjoy them. I insist that you use a portrait for your LinkedIn profile because that needs to look a little more professional and but still kind of casual. So these are perfect. So use that for your profiles. Make a portrait for Mother's Day, print it out and frame it for her, whatever, but enjoy them. Um, and but use them, of course, for the assignment that we're doing. So great. That worked out really well. All right, so let's get back to the schedule. Everyone's stressed out about the storybooks. The original plan was that everything was to be finished by this next class, and that just freak lots of people out, including me. So instead of having the design final presentation this week, the second, and then having final files due on the 9th, let's use our emergency plan, and let's just change the words because words are the best weapon we have today, and make this presentation coming up design finalization. It sounds like it's supposed to be done, but it's just in the process of getting done. You're like on the home stretch. It can be done, but it doesn't. You'll have much of your book should be done to slash most of your book should be done. Well, that's the goal. And then the week after that, you'll have you'll rally and you'll complete the book for the next review. So two reviews, and on the 9th is when it should be complete. But the catch is that instead of having a whole week to get your final files to me, you've got a couple of days. So basically, after that Thursday on the 9th, you'll have a day, let's call it a day, Friday to work on it, and then on Saturday, 2 days, all day Saturday too, because on Saturday by sunset, by the time sundown strikes, all final files need to be uploaded to the Google Drive so that on Sunday I can spend all day getting those ready and getting them to the printer. So basically when I say all, many, some should be uploaded for sure. And then if you need more time, reach out because I just basically need to be having one in front of me all day Sunday. So if you're a little bit late and you turn yours in Sunday at morning or even Sunday at midday, that's okay as long as others have turned theirs in and everybody can't be late. So anyway, shoot for Saturday at sundown for final files on the 11th, and that's the new plan. And then that'll allow us to then still have our 3 weeks or 4 weeks to work on our last third project, the audiovisual storybook. And this is going to be an assignment that will leave behind the print world, which we love, but now we'll focus on creating a reading experience that's meant to be delivered through a digital platform like a phone or an iPad. And basically, the idea with this here is since there's going to be no need to print, so we'll be able to have this also ready for our final reviews, which will include all three projects: the storybook, the children's storybook, the baby board book, and this digital audiovisual storybook. And the way this is working, in order to not overwork you guys or overload you or make it not possible to do, is that the concept here is that you should, you don't have to, but you can use the assets from your storybook or maybe your baby board book if it applies. Sometimes baby board books don't, most of the time they don't translate into an audio book because they're so short, or they're not even a story. But some of yours are this year, so I don't want to close that door. But basically, you should convert those assets into this digital book. So basically, it's not going to be about starting all over again with creating illustrations or designs, but it can. It can. Many people have done it before, not often, but there's always a small percentage of people who opt to make a new story, a new project out of this, and that's totally fine as long as you're able to do it and you have a good plan, and that and it's not that short a time. It's 4 weeks or 3 working weeks of it. If you can do it, great, and that will mean you'll have three different original projects. And if there's something you wanted to do for the storybook, but you chose the other route, and now here's your chance to do that. That's a way of thinking of it. So think about that as we get closer to that. Nothing to worry about right now, but that this will be our last project. And I'll get more into that as we get closer to there when we'll get a briefing on week 12. Okay, so let's go back to what is at hand in front of us right now, which is getting this storybook completed. So basically, to get to the design finalization presentation that's coming up next is you need to consider the feedback you got at our session. And if you didn't get feedback from me and you need to, and I'll look through the ones I didn't look at, send me an email and let me know you have questions or you want to know if everything looks good. But take the feedback you did get from Demi or Mateo or whoever you met with, and then make the adjustments to your story or your designs, and then work towards completing your illustration. Basically, everybody is in the complete your illustrations and layouts phase, and that's where you should be. You shouldn't be like changing the story or anything like that at this point. And your goal is is ultimately to have 10 spreads at least, which is the minimum amount. It could be more. And we talked about this with a few people in class that you're not limited to 10 spreads. You can add more. Like don't think you're stuck with that amount because it's not like the baby board book, which is fixed as you can add spreads to. But don't do it to your detriment that you can't finish them. So basically, work towards getting the 10 spreads done and then update your presentation. So basically, and have a presentation ready to show. So basically, this is an example of a book that literally uses 10 spreads in its story. Like I said, it could be more, but it does that. And this shows how the 10 spreads fit within the framework of the 24-page book, which we've talked about, meaning that four of the pages that are grayed out, the first scribble page, the spread with your bio, and the last more books by Dirt page are the four pages that belong to Dirt. And don't go changing those. Some of you were trying to put designs in there, even though I said 100 times. Those stay the way they are. You can't touch them. But you can touch everything else, the cover, the back, obviously, and all 10 spreads. So this is what you should be shooting for. Like as far along as this you can. Like most of your spreads, many of your spreads should be done. Um, well, let's just say most. It should be a majority, so that you can finish then the next week. And then don't forget, I saw many tile spreads, so I was very happy to see that. Don't forget the title spread is the first spread. Don't forget that. It gets forgotten all the time. So spread one is an opener, just like you see here. The day of adventure sets the scene in Tokyo. And then the story begins on page two. Instead of just starting page two, you can see how abrupt that would be, just starting like that. I mean, it's not that abrupt, but it's nice to set the scene here and have some little bit of dignity before we get into the story. Okay, and don't forget the fixed elements. These are all basically put in place to to keep the books consistent. And some things we have to have. So the Dirt logo is in the corner here. Don't forget that. It's going to stay right there where it is, that same size with the white box. The white box stays on this one. And that's a fixed item. Same with the UPC code in the back for blurb, which is what we're using to print our books. It's in the center. But if they go to Amazon, they're going to be on the left. So keep that in mind. Either the center or left, there's the UPC barcode. So I don't mind if it goes over your design, but it can't go over something that ruins the design. Okay, and then this is the inside cover on the left, and page one is on the right here. That stays blank. And the scribble and this line down here with your name on there, that's a done deal. And then on this page, this is where your portrait, the bio of about Dirt is all combined into one, and your portrait will be placed here. And I don't remember. I thought I had never mind. Okay, so when you pick your portrait and you crop it in here, just make sure you crop it nice and tight, like kind of like you see here, a bust, kind of like you're seeing me right now, like from the upper chest to the top of the head, and don't leave too much space above the head. In fact, you can even touch or crop a little bit of your head off too. If you put too much space above your head, you don't look strong. You look small. So crop that nicely. And again, black and white picture, pick a good one. And it doesn't have to literally be the portrait where you're not holding anything in the pictures you took. I don't want to see a book. I don't want to see the bag. But if you're able to crop into one that where you happen to be holding something, um, but you like the way you look and it works as a portrait, that's fine too. So don't think you have to pick from the literal portrait choices, but don't be the dopey person who puts you holding your book and I have to correct you in front of everybody. Don't let that happen because that could be really embarrassing. We don't want to see you holding your book inside your own book. Anyway, so pick a good portrait and then of course, if you could put in from your concept statement, like what your approach was and a little bit about your story. It could be mostly about your story if you want, but it'd be nice to kind of get in there something between why you chose the story, what it's about, and how you approach your design in a basic way. Have AI help you if you need. That's a perfect place for AI to help. Okay, and here's the last fixed element, that last page of more books about Dirt. And then remember the bleed. This is a big one. Like don't most be it was pretty much right on. There was only one board book that I had to fix that didn't remember the bleed, that I never even told the person. But remember that there's a bleed here. So basically you have to make sure your illustrations go wider than the trim area. And if not, we're gonna have to enlarge your illustrations bigger than you might want. So remember the bleed. All right, so I've got Children's Storybook Part 4, design finalization, um, on canvas, ready for you to review. It's got the image here that we just showed, and it's got in case you don't have it yet, the InDesign template, and it's got the Google Drive link, which is here, and this is where the folder is as usual. Have that uploaded by class Thursday. Um, and yeah, so that's it. So you guys are doing great, and but this is a critical time, so you guys have to stay focused. You have to be disciplined. You have to make sure you use your time wisely. You need to make sure you hold yourself to a high standard, like you've already been doing. Like don't let good enough be the worst enemy. Like try to strive for perfection. You can't reach it because we're broken humans, but you can strive for perfection and try to be as good as you can about taking the time to be thoughtful with your design, to be precise, to step back and try to think about the experience, to look for opportunities to make things better. Get advice from your friends, but be careful who you listen to. If they say something ridiculous, ignore them. Um, and make sure mostly it's about your time management now. So you got to stay focused. You got to take time to rest, of course, and you got to recharge yourself. You had spring break, but that might not have been restful. But most importantly, you got to like not get distracted. So don't go running around doing things for fun. And most importantly, this is very important. Like this, and this is only for a limited time. But for right now, I'm calling for a ban on this. I want nobody, absolutely nobody in my class from here till May 7th falling in love. Do not fall in love until after you're done with this assignment. Just put that stuff on hold, and believe me, I want you to fall in love after class is done. I want all of you falling in love. I want you eventually getting married. I want all of you having children and have a beautiful family. This is stuff you need to be planning for, but not right now. Do not fall in love. Okay, not right now. Do fall in love eventually, but not right now because you need to be focused. Like these people right here. You need to be killers and you need to be out there taking on your project. And you got other projects too and other classes, I know. So everything right now is about your design projects, about getting the best output you can because you are a junior at Parsons School of Design only once. And this is going to be the only time you're going to get these projects done. And then you're going to have one more year. This is the time where your stuff needs to be great. Not just my class stuff, all stuff. So get out there, kill it. Do not fall in love, and you're going to be golden. Fall in love afterwards, though. I want everyone falling in love forever. All right, that's it for now. And I will see you guys in class with most of your storybooks done, the next phase, and or much of your storybook done, not most, much of your storybook done. And reach out if you have any questions, and I'll see you Thursday. Bye.